Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Inquisitive Mamba Podcast. This is episode 38, and the weekend was fun. A lot of fun divisional games. Probably one of the craziest divisional rounds I've ever seen in my life. Got some food reviews to talk about, some cool food places I did try, food reviews, all that good stuff. But I'm ready to get into today's show, episode 38, as I just said. And not only that, I don't have a guest today, so you're stuck with me for around 20, 25, 30 minutes or so. But let's get right into it, and I'm ready. So, should the NFL change their overtime rules? I mean, that game between the Bills and the Chiefs was absolutely insane. I mean, I was watching that with a good friend of mine at a restaurant down the road from where I live, and I was just like, oh my goodness, this game is back and forth like crazy. I mean, 13 seconds for Patrick Mahomes to come down the field and tie the game and then go into overtime, and the Bills don't even get a chance to get the ball. Well, hold on a second, Chiefs fans. Hold on a second, Bills fans. Do you remember in 2019 when the Patriots did this to the Chiefs when Tom Brady was still there? Yes, it feels like many, many moons ago, but yes, Tom Brady was the Patriots quarterback, and they came down and they got the ball in overtime and they won it off a Rex Burkhead touchdown. So is two sides of the coin, Chiefs fans, because Travis Kelce, I remember I saw a clip yesterday from a few years ago when the Patriots made the Super Bowl against the Rams. He was on a talk show and he said, I wish the rules were different, but I mean, hey, I'm sure he's liking the rules now, right? So how about that one? And then I want to talk about Sean Payton retiring. Sean Payton, yes, as of right now, he's retired. That's all we know. Or is he retired? Now they say he's stepping away. I saw a clip actually the day before. Saints owner Gail Benson said, we don't know what Sean Payton is going to do. Well, now we know he's stepping away from the Saints. And folks, I don't blame Sean Payton for wanting to step away from the Saints. And the reason why is, okay, your quarterback, your all-time legend quarterback, Drew Brees, just left the season before, and now you're stuck with Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill, and a guy named Trevor Siemian out of Northwestern. Yeah, don't sign me up. I think I'm taking the high road and I'm getting the hell out of New Orleans, and I'm not partying on Mardi Gras, and I'm getting the hell out of Bourbon Street, right? So Sean Payton did the right thing. He knew exactly what he was doing, and good for Sean Payton. He's the most winning coach in Saints history with 152 wins. So it doesn't surprise me one bit. And the NFL is changing. A lot of young quarterbacks are coming up. Coaches are leaving. It's the business. It's how it works. I saw some Cowboys fans actually out there going, "Oh, we want Sean Payton right now. We want Sean Payton right now." If Jerry Jones wanted Sean Payton, he could go out and get him right now, and they would fire Mike McCarthy like that. Now, not to say 2023 doesn't come around, the Cowboys couldn't, potentially get Sean Payton. But don't forget, folks, Sean Payton is on a 3-year, he has 3 more years left on his contract. So the Saints would want any kind of, partnership or, some kind of trade. If that were to work or happen, or, if that were to, go around, Sean Payton would be, dealt to a team and, maybe potentially the Cowboys. But as of right now, Sean Payton is stepping away. And, feel free to email me or send me some comments or send me some feedback on what your guys' thoughts on Sean Payton was. So hell of a coach, hell of a career, smart move, did exactly what he needed to do, and Sean Payton's out the door. How about upcoming championship weekend? We're going to get to that here in a little bit, but I do want to talk about the Buccaneers and the Rams game. Oh my goodness, that Buccaneers-Rams game took 10 years off my life. And you're saying, why did it take 10 years off your life? You're not even a Bucs fan. Well, I love Brady, and who doesn't love Brady? That game was absolutely bazonkers. It was crazy. And one of my friends even texted me. He's like, that game was literally autistic, and nothing against autistic people out there, but that game was absolutely insane. I mean, I couldn't believe it when I was watching it. The Buccaneers were down 20-3 at halftime. And I think the play of the game that really saved the Bucs, although they lost, was what mainly saved them was the Cam Akers fumble before halftime, when they were up 20-3 and he fumbled. And I'm not sure what player ripped it out. It may have been Winfield. It could have been Murphy Bunting or Carlton Davis, but hell of a play on the defensive end to rip that ball out of Cam Akers' hands. And a lot of people were ranting and raving about Cam Akers the week before. Well, he had about 45 rushing yards, but 2 costly fumbles in that game, and really could have costed them. But, the Bucs offensive line was kind of wish-washy. Obviously, their starting right tackle, Tristan Wirfs, was out, and they had a third-string journeyman, guy named Josh Wells. I don't even know if you've even heard of him, but he stepped in for Tristan Wirfs, and then he got hurt and was kind of gimpy halfway through the game. So a guy named Austin Corbett came in and he took the reins, and it was just downhill from there. When you got guys like Von Miller and Aaron Donald coming in on both sides, along with a guy named Leonard Floyd, you're going to be in trouble. And that was the one thing that the Bucs were afraid of, was the pass rush against Brady. And obviously we know Brady isn't mobile enough to, get outside the pocket or scramble. I mean, he did have a couple plays where he was able to step up from the pocket and, make some throws. But when you're throwing to Mike Evans and Gronk, those are really your only two wide receiver threats. It's going to be really tough because you got a guy named Tyler Johnson out of Minnesota, 5th round pick the year before. He's starting to find his way into the league, but he's still not there. And obviously a few weeks before that, a guy named Antonio Brown really screwed them out of they screwed him big time. It was just tough. And it was, something that they weren't able to really recover from. And obviously, Chris Godwin blew his knee out against the Saints, and that's for a whole nother discussion. But I know I said, you don't want to bet against Brady. You don't want to bet against Brady, but it was very tough. It was a very tall task at hand, and it was a great game. I mean, they made it 27-27, but what happened is the Bucs ran like, cover zero, kind of a cover one. Some people were saying, I was seeing all over the internet. It was mainly a cover zero, obviously, with that play with Cooper Kupp and Winfield when Stafford found Winfield and Kupp, going at each other. But it wasn't really. Some people say it was a cover zero, cover one. I don't know. It was one-on-one, so there really wasn't a. Winfield was really the only safety back, so I guess you could call it cover one, cover zero. But anyways, the play of the game was that throw. The two big throws that Stafford made to Kupp, and now the Rams are on their way to the NFC Championship. And if you would have told me the Rams and the Niners would be playing in the NFC Championship for the NFC West, the real NFC West title, took one more game to go to the Super Bowl, I wouldn't have believed you. I would have said, Green Bay. Anyone hear Green Bay? That's what I'm getting into next. I'm bringing up the Green Bay Packers. Yes, I talked about the Green Bay Packers a few weeks ago, how they were going to be the number one seed. But man, oh man, they were the number one seed. They blew it. They blew it again. Rodgers, I guess, in the frozen tundra, couldn't get it done. Jimmy G, Jimmy Polo, Jimmy Swaggy, he got it done with his guys on the road, and Jimmy G made the throws when it counted. And, it's funny because I've been watching, Rodgers for a long time, and how, he hasn't been able to get it done in the playoffs, but no excuse this year. I obviously, you can blame special teams, but the game was 10-3. The Niners kept it close for the entire game, and the Packers could have blew the doors open on them. First half, it looked like they were going to absolutely, blow the doors off. And I was actually watching that game with some friends at a local restaurant down the road, and one of my friends, the Packers fan, and he was really cocky, saying, "Oh, the Packers are going to blow them out. They should." And I even bet on the Packers because they're home, they're the favorite. Obviously, there's always upsets in the playoffs, but when you sit there and think about the Packers and the Niners going at it, actually funny because the Packers and the Niners last two times they've played, 4 times, the Niners have had Rodgers' number. Now they've it's been different teams, so it's kind of tough to sit there and go, well, Rodgers that year, Jimmy G that year or that year. I don't think you can really, compare those. But the Niners played their hats off. They played really well. You got guys like Bosa and Armstead coming off the edge, and they gave Rodgers hell in the fourth quarter. And those last 2 possessions for Rodgers, they weren't the greatest. And I know you can say it's in the snow, but he was really Devontae Adams, dependent on. And they lost the game, and now we're starting to see, and we're thinking, where's Rodgers going to go? And it's funny because I saw a thing Eli Manning said, was warning Rodgers for him to leave Green Bay. Be careful. And exactly why I like that. Be careful, because listen, some people say, oh, he's going to go to the Broncos. Okay, well, do you want to play Justin Herbert and Mahomes in that division twice a year when you're going from a division with the Lions, the Bears, and the Packers and the Vikings, from that division, what was how weak that one is, to a really strong young division in the AFC West with, the Broncos? They've got a really good defense. So, I mean, yeah, maybe he would go to the Broncos, but I don't know. I feel like he would either stay in Green Bay for one more year and retire, because ultimately, I don't know Rodgers personally, but I do think he wants to retire a Packer, just like how Brady wanted to retire a Patriot. But sometimes it doesn't always work out that way. There could be, mixed scenarios that say, oh, he could go Pittsburgh, he could go to Denver. He's not going to the Dolphins, obviously, because they have all their eggs in on Tua, but I mean, he could go the Steelers. Obviously, you got a really good coach in Mike Tomlin. You still got a really solid roster. It's just that O-line's a little shaky, which the Steelers have always had a really good O-line for, most of the time while Ben was there in his younger years and even up until now. But a lot of guys got old. They lost a guy like Pouncey. I'm not even sure if DeCastro is still there anymore. Maybe he is. I really haven't really paid attention to Steelers O-line that much, but what I've seen, it's not what it used to be. So I mean, you could go to a team like the Steelers and, play around with that defense, and they've got offensive weapons. Obviously, maybe Juju comes back. Deontay Johnson's still under contract. Claypool's under contract. You got a guy like Najee Harris. So, I mean, it just all depends on, what Rodgers is feeling. And the Packers have a really good roster. So, does he want to leave the Green Bay, or does he want to stay in Green Bay? Ultimately, it's going to be interesting to see what he does this offseason because, he could hang it up. And imagine if we lost Brady and Rodgers in the same offseason. Oh my goodness, I probably wouldn't come out of my room for weeks. So yeah, I mean, upcoming championship weekend here, Niners Rams, Bengals Chiefs. Wow, I have a couple Bengals fans a couple friends that are Bengals fans, and I really am shocked. I mean, I couldn't believe that the Bengals, got this far. And obviously, they've got Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and they got a really good run game. Their O-line is very shaky. Obviously, you saw that in the Titans game, but really can't trust Ryan Tannehill in divisional games. So, I mean, I guess, Bengals, they really wanted it. And which was pretty cool to me because I go to UF, Gators. The Bengals kicker, Evan McPherson, said to one of the players on the sideline before he came out and kicked the field goal, he said, "We're going to the AFC Championship." Now that's guts, that's glory, that's confidence. And don't forget, the Chiefs and the Bengals did play a few weeks ago, and the Chiefs actually lost against the Bengals when the Bengals were home. But like I try to tell people, the Chiefs are a total different animal at home, and Arrowhead is going to be rocking, obviously. So I think it'll be a good game. Not sure if it'll live up to that Bills-Chiefs game because that game was, that game was insane. So quickly, I want to talk about the NBA real quick. Anthony Davis did come back. He had 8 points. He had 4 blocks last night. He didn't look like himself, obviously, which I was trying to tell one of my good friends that, but that's expected. You're coming back off of, 17 games missed, and you just around a month and a half, you're coming off an MCL sprain. So I expect Anthony Davis to get back to form pretty shortly here in their next, 10 games or so. But tomorrow is a really big test for the Lakers because they play the Sixers, and what the Lakers need is they need to, play together, obviously, as a team. And, LeBron's going to be LeBron. He's going to do his thing. But it's good to have Anthony Davis back because now they have that center presence, that big man presence where they've been missing, since he's been gone. They've been trying to put, Howard in the lineup there, LeBron at center at some points, even Stanley Johnson at the 5. So it'll be interesting to see, how they play against, a pretty scorching hot Sixers team tomorrow night, obviously, with Joel Embiid potentially, he could be the MVP. So I think it'll be a good game. I'm not sure, how they'll manage AD's minutes because I think he played 24 minutes last night, if I'm not mistaken, but I think it'll be a good game. Obviously, any game with LeBron's going to be a good game. Quickly, before I get away from the NBA, how about the Cavaliers, though? I have a good friend who is a huge Cavs fan, and I haven't talked about the Cavs on the show, a lot. Obviously, you're like, whoa, the Cavs are kind of relevant again since LeBron James has left. Yeah, I know. LeBron is not on the Cavs anymore, but they got a really good young core. Got, Garland, they got Isaac Okoro, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, and Lauri Markkanen. And they got a couple guys off the bench. It's good to have a guy like Rondo there for that veteran leadership. But, I'm watching the Cavs and, they play really well together as a team. And, they're even missing, Colin Sexton, who, a lot of Cavs fans don't like. But, I mean, hey, I'd rather have a guy in the lineup that's averaging 25 points per game than 0. But they have a big test against the Bucks tonight. I'm not going to pick a winner or a loser. I mean, if you want to go Bucks, sure. Cavs, I don't know, maybe the Bucks will win. It's just if Giannis plays, obviously that's a huge factor for them. But it's nice to have a guy like Jared Allen and Mobley, and if Markkanen was playing, because those 3 guys can potentially stop Giannis from getting in the paint, because obviously that's where Giannis scores most of his points. Kind of what the Heat did to him back in the bubble series when the Heat actually won that series. So it'll be a good game. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the Cavs, and future's bright, really good young core. Garland's a stud. Mobley's obviously, leading the NBA and the rookie standing. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, so lots of young talent for the Cavs. covering the Gators basketball, talking to them about them real quick. They're playing Tennessee tonight for all you Gator basketball fans out there. Really tough loss against Ole Miss the other night. No Colin Castleton, no CJ Felder. But it'll be interesting to see how they do against, a really good opponent, Tennessee, who, likes to move the ball. They play defense, got a couple good, got a couple good guards, here and there. They're ranked 18. Florida's obviously unranked, but it's a really big test for Mike White and his guys on the road tonight. It would be nice to have, Felder back. And obviously, I don't think Castleton is going to play. I don't know when he's going to come back with that shoulder injury, but it's good to know, where the Gators are at right now. Got to pick up some wins here. The Ole Miss loss was, pretty bad. Obviously, the team shot a low 14.8% from the 3-point line. So it'll be interesting to see how they do tonight against a really good, Tennessee team that likes to, go up and down the court. And I'm just interested to see how, Mike White will prepare his guys and what they'll go with lineup wise, because maybe a guy like Quasi Reeves can, do something for them. He's their freshman guy. He's been getting some good solid minutes. A guy like Jason Totobo, he's been solid for them as of late, but Tennessee's a total different animal. It's not Ole Miss. It's Tennessee on the road. And I think it'll be a good game. So before I wrap this show up, I do want to talk a little bit about Tom Brady and his retirement. So yes, I think this could be it for Tom Brady. I really do. And the reason why is because he's done everything that he's had to do. I don't think he has anything else left to prove. At the end of the day, he still has a family at home. And, I think when he takes those big hits, like getting hit from Von Miller or something like that, or, getting on the ground and the O-line isn't where it's supposed to be, it's tough. I mean, I just think it'll be interesting to see what he does. He's 44 years old. I know his goal, he's wanted to play till he's 45, but I don't know. I mean, this year it's weird because these rumors just started floating around. I don't think it's just some random person, floating it around. And I was talking to some friends, and I think it could be it. And the reason why I think this could be it, like I said, he's done everything. He doesn't have anything else left to prove to the Bucs or the Patriots or anyone else in the NFL. The guy has 7 Super Bowls with 5 Super Bowl MVPs, along with 3 regular season MVPs. And is he the MVP this year? Potentially, it's between him and Rodgers, but I really think this could be it. It also depends on the Bucs, free agency and what they do. Obviously, I know that seems like, sounds very obvious, but it really does, because you got guys like Ryan Jensen, who's a free agent. Chris Godwin's a free agent. Gronk may or may not come back. His status depends on Brady. Carlton Davis, their starting corner, which a lot of people haven't been the happiest with, but he's a free agent as well. So Ndamukong Suh's a free agent. Just a lot of guys there that potentially might not come back. And I know that they want to try to keep everyone together. Fournette's another free agent as well. So like Arian said last year, we want to run it back. This is when they won the Super Bowl against the Chiefs and they had their parade, but who knows? I mean, if they're going to be able to keep everyone together. And my last point here, I will say, is it's crazy to think that, in a regular season that guys get hurt one year, and then the next year more guys get hurt, and then guys leave different teams, and you'll never get the same NFL, guys on the same field every year, each in and out. And I think that's what makes the NFL so special and so cool, because there's so many guys. But the way the NFL is going now, it's like, well, when that guy gets hurt, if it's a big name guy, it just can, ruin everything. It's crazy to think about, but the NFL is changing. Breeze is gone. Big Ben's on his way out. Eli's gone. Peyton's been gone for a few years now. Rodgers is on his way out. Brady potentially is leaving. Sean Payton retired. Belichick could be next in a few years. Just the NFL is changing, and a lot of young guys are, coming up. But to wrap up the show, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about my food reviews. My most recent post on Instagram, one of my food reviews I did, that was at Buffalo Wild Wings with my partner / cameraman / producer, usually when we're in the studio producing the show, Max Adams, who's actually just getting back from vacation. So it'd be good to see him. But yeah, I tried out some Buffalo Wild Wings, not their wings, but Buffalo chicken wrap. And it was pretty solid. Nothing too crazy, but I did enjoy it. And I did a pizza review over the weekend. I have to post that one on my Instagram as well. And these are on Instagram and TikTok. So make sure to check those out as well. And make sure to check us out on Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. The Inquisitive Mamba will be back in studio next week, unless I record an emergency podcast the next day or two. But we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. As always, the Inquisitive Mamba is off. We'll see you next time.